It's
Good to
been
see
crazy
you.
knowing that you're there working really hard and Hillary's there working really hard, and I haven't like gotten to see you guys yet this week.
It's been a lot of Hillary. She's been doing a lot in the background.
You guys
I've
are
been
amazing.
available tech support, but I think she's been running pretty hard.
Incredible. Well, it has been incredible to know you guys are there doing all of that. And I just have felt so safe and just nestled in.
Yeah, it's been yeah, it seems to be going really, really smoothly. Yeah, it's been great.
A lot smoother than last year, I'm telling you.
Oh, really?
Oh my goodness. Hi, Jay. Last year, we couldn't get the recordings from the platform we were using. Okay. So Hillary and I would literally spend about 3 to 4 hours every night just trying to get the recordings from the organization and then putting them in a format that we could actually restream them. I mean, it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. And it was just because their platform, I don't know, it wasn't created to do what we were trying to do, I guess. And they didn't label any of the recordings. So we literally had to like go into every one of them and figure out. And whenever they sent us new recordings, they sent all of the recordings jumbled. So we couldn't even figure out which ones were the new ones. It was so bad, y'all. So
That's terrible.
get to hear her new experience here, how this has gone.
Yeah.
And there's so much she's doing that we didn't even talk about doing that we did last year that I've just noticed her picking the ball up and running with it. So we're talking about you.
I heard.
Woo! So
Oh,
I
man.
can't wait to hear a check-in around all things. I was telling Zach, it's been crazy to know you guys are working so hard to make this happen, especially you, Hillary, but not yet really see you this week. Like,
speaking of that, Zach, would you like to do Yellow Duck or would you like me to do it?
You do it.
Great.
What is Yellow Duck? I was like watching that go on Discord. I'm like, I'm not even going to ask yet what Yellow Duck is.
Not
Yellow
worth
Duck.
it.
So the platform we're using the platform can connect to Instagram, but Instagram isn't allowing everyone to do it yet. It's called Instagram Live Producer. They're slowly rolling it out. So it was like a very last minute. I think it was the night before we started. So I set up that this platform called Yellow Duck, and it's the only thing they do is stream different things to Instagram. So
wow.
And then yesterday we were able to get it framed properly.
Oh, amazing.
So now you can see the whole
now
screen
you
on
can
Instagram.
see the whole screen, not just half our
I
face.
think, right, Hillary?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Whew, that's incredible. That's incredible. Well, that's super exciting to hear. Yeah, thank you guys. All right. So we have an agenda today, but we also have an intro to do. So I'll do our intro while Hillary's finishing Yellow Duck. Welcome to the Relational Revolution Live, where we're modeling and inviting. We are modeling the value shifts for practicing church as heart-to-heart connection, all the value shifts, which we haven't even mentioned all of them yet in this whole thing, I don't think, but they're in Relational Revolution, the book, 5 Shifts for Rediscovering Church's Heart-to-Heart Connection. So if you're curious, grab that book. We're giving it away for free for new donors. So there's that too. And we're inviting others to join us by training. There's training opportunities with Luke 10, as well as funding the global movement. So where do we find ourselves right now? We are in our general circle, and I'm actually going to share one of our little circle images. I wonder if I can make it bigger. If I can make this one bigger, because this one's such a good one. Let me see. Oh, I can. Oh, good. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen to share this image. I think it's the most simple image Hillary has created. Thank you, Hillary. This one right here. Can y'all see that?
Yes.
Is it big enough? Let me make it just so, can I make it?
Looks good.
Okay. So the general circle, we run in circles, we say, or the bubble bath, if you want that one in Luke 10. And we've talked about divine governance, sociocracy, and all of that, the way we govern ourselves. So the way that we ensure that everyone in the organization has a voice is that we have key aspects of our organization grouped in circles, and that circle has domains, they have privileges, they have responsibilities over different areas, but they're all still connected to each other so that we can all give feedback to each other. We can all give consent to each other. And that allows us to be decentralized. So the circles have the power to make suggestions, to make proposals, to run with those proposals, but still connected. So high differentiation and high connectivity within ourselves. So that being said, this circle today that you are witnessing is called the general circle. And it is the hub where all of our circles connect together. And what circles would those be that connect together? We've got the mission circle, which is myself and Zach LaValle. All of them are double linked. So every one of us in this circle is in two circles. So they're all double linked. That way you don't get any strange happenings where I used to be on staff, for example, at a mega church of 7,000, right? And the only staff member that was part of the elder board was the pastor. Seriously, he could twist that story to make it sound however he wanted to for whichever group he was working in, and he did often. So very unhealthy leadership happening, and there was no double linking to help make sure the story was the real story. So we have double linking. It provides accountability, but it also takes some of the stress and weight off that one person who has the job of having to do that. So Zach and I are in the mission circle together, and we're in the general circle. The equipping circle, that would be, well, Jay, Hillary, and I right now are in the equipping circle as well. So we represent that, but Jay mainly and Hillary. The operations circle is Dennis and Hillary, although Zach and I are in that circle as well, but they're the representative and delegate there. And then our comms team, which is Zach and Hillary, I happen to be on that as well. So I won't be in every circle for long, but I have been, because we just really are living out these circles for the first time ever since January. So this is super exciting for our organization. And this is where you find us right now, is this general circle. The mission circle oversees all of it. So they look really small and they look like they're under the general circle kind of in this picture, but they're not. They are overseeing all of the circles and the mission, and they get connected to everything through the representatives of the general circle, if that makes sense. So if you're geeking out on organizational development or organizational structure, that's for those people who might get their head into that and enjoy that piece. All right, that's where you find yourself. So we are here. I'm going to try to get my agenda back. There we go. We all have an agenda. We keep our notes in our agenda online in Google Docs so that we can all see them and all work together. So if we go to that, that's what we're looking at, is our agenda and our notes. And we always begin by getting our relational circuits on and telling some appreciation stories. So I will invite us to take a deep breath. And because this is the general circle, we try to tell appreciation stories about our circles if we can. If not, it's never, a bad thing to tell any appreciation story that can come to your mind. But if there is one about our circles, then we get to just learn more about how our circles are functioning and how they're doing. So let's take, 30 seconds to a minute maybe, and try to find an appreciation story, or ask God which one he wants us to share, as we like to do. All right. I have two because they're quick. One is, every time I look at Discord, which is our we work together on Discord. Every time I look at Discord and see Hillary and Zach handling issues and just knocking it out of the park, creating things that we didn't even talk about you doing, Hill, but you knew you wanted to do, because we did last year, like restream the things that were streamed earlier, and communicate tomorrow's agenda. All the, just like I just exhale And I say out loud, usually to whoever is with me, my team's so cool. So it could be my husband, my parents, my neighbors. It doesn't matter who's around me. I verbally say, I have the best team on the planet. They are so incredible and they're nailing this, knocking it out of the park. It's so cool. And it has felt so much less stressful than last year. So I am thankful for you guys and amazed at what you're doing. For sure. The other thing I want to appreciate, my other memory is Grant Circle from yesterday, which is under the Equipping Circle. The Grant Circle meeting yesterday, we're working through our proposal shaping process, which, as you guys know, is kind of hard to learn and practice and do together. It's so abstract, and Dr. Kent Smith's been there leading us and working with us on shaping this enormous proposal, honestly. And just really enjoy learning from him. We talked a little bit about collaborating with Eden Center yesterday, just throwing out the idea. And I got really excited thinking about that and what that could mean. And just the heart of Kent Smith, knowing his heart, and that we're at a place in Luke 10 where his heart's coming online even more, because his heart's for community and community structures. So I felt excited and thankful for the opportunity and really satisfied with our team. Yeah, it's good work. Amen.
Tony, quick response to that. After that Grant Circle call, I walked out of my office immediately, and my son was wearing an Abilene, Texas shirt. Abilene. And just wanted to share that.
Very odd. I've never even heard of Abilene, Texas. So
Is he going?
how would he have a shirt?
We have, I'm not exactly sure. It was a cool shirt. I didn't ask. So,
Well, if you're watching, you should definitely go. I've been there. It's fun. And oh man, so much more.
Yes, Hillary has already done the regenerative culture workshop, by the way. Hillary,
Got a certificate.
We were talking about getting a whole contingency and going next year together.
Hey, I'll go again.
Yeah, awesome.
100%.
It'll be like Luke 10 in the Wild, but in Abilene.
It's still wild.
Keep doing it next year.
Yeah.
Thanks. All right. Who's next? Hillary, you want to go?
Jay, you can go.
all right. So good to see you all. My appreciation is the Equipping Circle didn't meet, so I will not share from that circle, but I'll share from the all things training circle. And yesterday, after the podcast recording that Chad and I did, and I disappeared because we lost power, and thank you, Hillary, for that save. And so I'm glad it was toward the end and not during it, but we lost complete power. And but we finished everything. So I went outside to do a little walk around, and I gave Chad a call, and I said, "Hey, let's do a mini debrief of our first live recording of a podcast." Because before we even do that, I just want to let you know that this morning, meaning yesterday, I did my intro to Church 101 training call with Ryan Nienaber. It was the most outstanding call I think I've ever been on. I remember the high octane excitement. He was like an ecstasy. And he said, what is this that you people do, this training? He said, it was so amazing because Ryan prayed and listened to Jesus before our call, and we kind of connected before we connected. And from the outpouring of even in that, Chad was already seen and known. And I think he was weeping. So I have the video, I haven't watched it. And Chad said, even if I don't even continue my training, even if there's no one on the intro call, that will mark me forever, just that moment with Ryan. And so the excitement of me hearing our training process of what it's doing, and a man that was a pastor for 30 years, I will never forget it. And it was like the very lightning that took my power out in that call with Chad. And it just energizes me. And I'm really glad to be part of our training community. So I'm in.
I heard him share a little bit of that on the podcast, before the podcast really, but on live. And I was like, oh my goodness, yes. So Ryan, if you're out there or ever watching this, we're super excited about that. And everyone's going to write in now and say, can I have Ryan as my trainer?
Good.
Thank you, Jay.
That's great. So I'll go because it has to do with Jason's strike of lightning taking out his Wi-Fi. So I thought I was being really clever in like putting up the schedule on the live stream, and then I was like, okay, like we'll pass it on. You know how to like stop sharing. That was a whole thing, but we ended up getting it, and then I was like listening all day yesterday and just working behind the scenes. While also taking care of like a 6-month-old, because I like hang out with my friend and work from her home when she's working from home too, and we swap responsibilities. Anyway, so it's getting towards the end of their time, and I tend to pay super attention at the beginning of calls that I'm not on and at the end, just to make sure, you know, everything closes wonderfully and ends, you know, well. And if there's anything else, or be there for like questions, like back and forth. And then all of a sudden Jason disappears. And I'm like, oh. And Chad has no idea what day. He's just like, oh. So I just unmute. I'm like, well, it seems that Jason is gone. I think I just got a text from him. His Wi-Fi is down. I turn on my camera. I have like the baby on my arm, and it's just like doo, 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 just hanging out. It was so silly and so fun. And Chad and I chatted for a bit and just kind of closed the call and helped people get ready for the next call as well. But it was just so silly and so natural at the same time for me to just like jump in with Chad. Like we met last year in Greenville, but we haven't had many conversations face to face since. But I don't think you'd be able to tell if you were watching that, like, oh no, Chad and Hillary, they're like great friends. That's just how it happened. And we closed, and it was great. So felt very glad to be with people who are so welcoming, opening, okay with, you know, people disappearing off calls when they're supposed to be there, and someone else's voice just chiming in out of nowhere, and just running with the flow of things. It's my kind of people. So, thank you.
Thanks. Incredible. Thank you so much for being behind the scenes as well and helping us figure this out.
Thank you.
Yeah. Zach.
I have kids playing on our playset over there, so usually my AirPod's pretty reliable. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. So my appreciation story. As we got into this week, into the live stream event, I had to make sure not to lose myself and get overwhelmed by it, because I have family stuff. I have another job. My Luke 10. I try to keep my Luke 10 hours in their proper box, especially lately because I have another job. So anyway, over the last few years working with you guys, I've had to. It's been a growth area and a maturing area, and I think a healing area with work, because I've had to set boundaries for myself and receive the space that you guys constantly give, and the trust that you give, and yeah, that I had a habit for a very long time, like through my adult life, of taking on all of the expectations of everybody else and trying to make everybody happy all the time, even things that they didn't even say too. Like I got to make sure that if they're not saying it, then I'm making them happy. So yeah, the last few years has been a growth area, and being trusted by you, and receiving the gift of space and I don't know, just like if I say I can't do this right now, you guys are, okay. And then also rediscovering that and how to balance that with my responsibilities with the organization. So it's like taking care of those things, knowing when to take care of things and come through for the team, and when I need to say I can't do this, I have to step back. So this week it was just there's just a wave of I don't know, like this refreshing reminder that I'm on this team that respects and trusts me and cares for me and knows that I'm gonna keep those things in their proper place. Yeah. Anyway, it's just been an interesting balance and healing and rediscovering process, balancing these different things, responsibility and boundaries and receiving from the team. So yeah, that's what I'm appreciating. So
Thank you, Zach. Yeah, I'm remembering lots of conversations where we're like, do you need to be doing this? Can you say no to these things? We don't need you doing these things. Are you working within your 10 hour limit, or how much time are you giving?
Yeah.
And I think that as you're sharing that, it makes me want to share or realize that not many people know who's employed with Luke 10 and how much, like how many hours, we're a very, very small organization. We only have 2 full-time employees. That's it. And we're actually independent contractors because I still do other jobs as well as Luke 10 to make ends meet. And there are maybe 4 part-timers. Is that about right, you guys? You two, Dennis, Susan, and Cara kind of share finances, and Kent Smith. So 5, I think that's all of us. I think so 5 part-time. And when I say part-time, I mean really part-time, where you're independent contractors. So you really volunteer and get some recompense for that. And then you do other things for income as well. So I don't know if people actually realize that that's it. That's all we are. And those other roles are comms roles. And Zach does a little bit of everything that we might have, from helping govern the organization all the way to communicating and making Instagram videos. So a little of everything, our website design as well. And Jay's our lead trainer. So that's his role in all of this craziness. So very lean organization that we try to divide up and conquer whatever we can as we do that. So thank you, guys. All right, we have an agenda today. Let's do what we normally do and listen to Jesus a little bit, looking at the agenda and think through, God, what's important for us to talk about our circles. If you're representing a circle, I've given you some space to think about maybe some of the things that you could be thinking about. Ops, Hillary, Dennis is on vacation. We love you, Dennis. And so if there's anything there that we need to talk about, if you could bring to the table. Yeah, let's take 30 seconds to a minute to listen and see if there's anything else, Papa God, that we need to talk about today. All right. Do we want to take care of quick business first and then we can maybe hit comm stuff? That sound good?
Sure.
Did anyone hear or sense anything that they didn't write on the agenda that you want to just share verbally?
Nope.
All right. I just sense that one of the most important things I feel like we could do is check in around the Relational Revolution Live. How are we feeling? And just explore that a little bit together. So we can do that in the comms section. What do we need to finish well? Anyone burning out? Anyone need a break? Just want to make sure we're taking care of each other well. And then when do we want to debrief the experiment? I know my mind's already starting to debrief, but I want to put pause on that because we're going to celebrate first as we do, and then we'll debrief at some point, but we need to put a date on that because we're all taking vacation after this and taking turns taking vacation. So we need to find a date when we're all together to be able to do that. So we can get to that when we get there. Ops, Hillary, anything on ops that we need to talk about?
Yeah, apparently we have 0 Church 101s on the calendar right now.
Oh, that's weird because last week we had several. We had 2.
There's tons of intro calls. There are no Church 101s. So if you have taken an intro call recently and you're like, why can't I schedule a Church 101? So sorry. Didn't know that was going to
How
happen.
did that even
So
happen? Oh my
I don't
goodness.
know. So I will be taking a look at the schedule when I get a chance outside of the live.
So I do know that Bethany's going to start one with this woman and her kids. So just throwing that out there, that if there is anyone who has preteens or teens that they want to do Church 101 with, we actually have our first experiment running very soon with Bethany, who you heard talking about the relational revolution with mental health issues and with children. Not that those are combined or anything, but that just sounded funny. But that might be an opportunity if anyone's interested. Part of me is like, I wonder if either of my kids would go for that. So yeah, let community@luke10.com if you're interested in that one. And then we do have 8 trainees doing intro calls this month, hopefully. So they might roll those into Church 101s, which would hopefully open up lots of space for people. So I'm anticipating 8 Church 101s on the calendar for July. So if nothing happens in June, sit tight and the calendar should open itself to us, hopefully very soon. Hopefully.
I spoke to Victoria yesterday and she's drawn to put one on the calendar, and so she might be the interim person.
Thank you.
Fantastic. I'll reach out to her.
Great. Thank you so much, Jay. And as trainers, Jay, let's communicate this to our trainers, just that if they are training someone, to make sure they get the Church 101 on the calendar as soon as possible, because most of the people in training are going to be able to go straight into Church 101 training. So let's go ahead and tell them, hey, get your Church 101 on the calendar, even if it's 3 weeks from now or, whatever. That way we have them on the calendar.
It sounds like a lot of them. If we have 8, that'll be amazing.
It will be amazing. Yeah. Hopefully. Thank you. Thanks, Hill. Anything else?
Dennis is successfully on vacation, which is huge. I think that's something to celebrate, like a little bit. Like one of us is out there vacationing.
Yeah, they've already started. Woohoo! Go, Dennis. We're so happy for you in Turkey with your daughter.
Yes.
Enjoy.
Yeah, and all the traveling they'll get to do and everything, and all the good food places they'll go to. Very exciting.
Yeah. That makes me smile. He's happy. That's so wonderful. All right. Equipping circle. Jay, the main thing that I wrote down, since we didn't meet this month, was the leader lesson. I submitted it via email. I'm not sure if y'all got it or if you got it, but Hillary, everyone's approved it. So just wanted to know who's going to take lead on that. I know you're heading off for vacation soon, but after June.
I think I saw a comment on something that needed to be changed. If that can either be resent to my email, that would be great, because all that needs to happen is that change to be updated and the PDF link to be updated, and then it's done.
Great. And the PDF, the name. Okay, great. Yeah, that sounds great. I can resend that to you. I don't know where I put it, but I'll resend it.
Great.
Wonderful.
Feel free to resend it in Discord too if you don't want to lose it in emails.
Yes, thank you. Also, I'm wondering if on our additional resources now in our leader lesson, if we want to add relational revolution.
Of course, why not?
Okay, super fun. Thank you. All right. I think that was that. Great. Any other work? Mission Circle, there is some things from the Mission Circle. Maybe it's good to mention them because you can marinate on them during our summer. Because we've decided to pull back over the summer, cut our meetings in half and rest. We have been running way too long for over a year now as a team. And we deserve a really big rest. So we were supposed to talk about that at some point, just what that looks like. So while we're resting, some of these things might marinate, okay? And then we'll talk just briefly about what that rest looks like. I think for us, we can talk about that. But there are so many amazing stories happening in our community. And so how do we tell them well? I think that's the biggest question coming from the Mission Circle right now is, how do we tell these stories? And, we used to do guerrilla videotaping. Every time we just saw someone, we would record it, and then post it somewhere, but we don't even know where to post them now. So we're kind of in this place, and our newsletter used to be interviews, these interviews, just sharing the stories. Now we have John White's podcast, which is awesome. And he will be interviewing people on that and continuing to share the stories of the revolution that way. But we're just wondering, what's the most effective way to share these stories with our communities, with us, with the world? So we don't even have to talk about it today because we're not going to activate anything. And I'm an activator. So if I talk about it, I'm going to be activating it. So let's just not even talk about it. But think about it all summer. And when we come back together, we can talk about it and actually activate something if y'all want. How does that sound as a proposal? Zach, does that sound like an okay proposal?
Yep. I think there's already some ideas in the mix for a few people in our community that but everyone's holding it. Everyone's holding it back until we're ready to move.
Whew, that sounds super exciting. Gives me something to look forward to in the fall, and helps me continue to rest. So thank you. The other big question is, do we want to do a staff gathering this year where we all find each other together as a staff? And if so, who would like to take lead on that? And maybe we don't. Maybe we just listen. Maybe we, any proposals or thoughts about that? Reactions to the idea of a staff gathering?
Are you referring to an in-person gathering?
Yeah. Yes. With staff and possibly staff families, if we wanted to go that far. Mm-hmm.
I'm open. Our family's been traveling a lot for the first 5 months of the year. And we're traveling again next week, and I think we're traveling. So, I'm open to it because I love you all. So, I don't want to take lead on it.
Totally.
I am open, and I think we should all go to Springfield, Massachusetts, and/or Boston.
Oh goodness!
To
really?
make that easier. Yes, really.
Singing Greenville.
5 children.
Yes, that is true. But Greenville's so wonderful.
Greenville is great.
It is. Yeah, I'm open and definitely not coordinating it.
All right. So my brain's wondering, I'm just kind of thinking, and I'm like, okay, John and Kent and I do a writer's retreat every year. I'm wondering if we could combine the writer's retreat with a staff gathering where John and Kent and I, for our 6 to 8 hours a day, do our writing retreat while y'all all play, and then we join everyone for evening activities and fun.
Are you going to be able to do that, Tony?
Oh yes, because I need fun after.
But are you going to be able to write when you know that Zach and I and Jason are having fun without you?
Well, that's true.
You think about that before you propose that. I don't, because then you're stuck with John and Ken, and they're fun. It's just a different kind of fun.
Very
Just
true.
saying.
I'm going to Greenville soon at some point. So I know I'm going to get Jay and Victoria alone. Anyway, okay, that might not work. Let's keep thinking about it and keep just listening to our hearts. What do our hearts long for? Because maybe we're like, no, we don't need to be all together. Seeing each other one-on-one is just as good right now, this year. So let's just keep thinking and listening on that, and listening to the organization on that, our circles and our staff. How does that sound? All right.
I was gonna say, I've really been wanting to do more of the. I think we only did one. No, we didn't do one happy hour, but last year we were experimenting with happy hours, and it was, even though I don't even know if I ever made it like fully present to a happy hour. I usually had kids climbing on me and stuff, but lately I've been really wanting to do at least one of those. So a staff Zoom happy hour would be really fun.
If we could get John White to a staff Zoom happy hour, I would feel like we have completed the mission. You hear me, John White? You need to play more with us. Okay. All right. Thank you. That's fun. We're definitely doing one Thursday, aren't we, Hillary? A closing happy hour round.
The celebration round, which we should probably talk about too, because I already started implementing something and we never really talked about it.
Okay, perfect. All right, great. Well, let's jump there then. Let's start with a check-in first. How are we feeling about relational revolution? And I am also realizing there's multiple layers, right? There's how am I feeling about how the meetings are going? How am I feeling about the content that's being shared and covered and experienced? How am I feeling about the interaction we're getting from outsiders? How am I feeling about people engaging? How am I feeling about the operations side of things and how smoothly it's running? So there is a million ways we could answer that question. I think I mainly want to know, how are your energy levels right now? How are you feeling about the work you're doing? So let's focus it on that, because we'll debrief everything when it's over. But how are you feeling about your energy levels, your work that you're doing, how you're showing up, and how the organism is around you? Does that make sense? Okay, great. Because I'm concerned about you right now, not anyone else. So I can start. I am feeling supported, amazed, thankful. So supported, because I have not worried about anything, not once. Haven't thought of anything. And if I do, I just text it and you guys are like, yeah, we're on it. I'm like, of course you are. So just amazed. I was telling Zach, Hillary, before you got on, how hard last year was for both of us, because that platform wasn't exactly what we needed. And we were spending 4 hours a night. It was worse. You're muted. We can't hear you, but the look on your face says it all. It was a nightmare. And this is so easy for me, at least, compared to last year. So thank you for all the work you and Zach did to make this so much easier than last year. So feeling supported, feeling really satisfied with how I'm showing up. The first 2 days were incredibly intense for me, and these next 2 are a lot lighter. I just have one other meeting today and I'm off, and then I have like 2 tomorrow. So feeling like I scheduled it well enough to protect myself, so that I have some breathing space and rest as well, and not like I'm going to get completely burned out by tomorrow. So I am in with that. Jay, how about you?
I am checking in supported around this, curious, and a bit of relief as well, supported because of what a wonderful team we have in so many different ways. And so I have a leader team that I normally facilitate today, 3 p.m. Eastern, but I'm also interviewing Hala later. And so I called upon Josie, Josie Willard, that I'm training in leader team facilitation, and she's jumping in and going to take that team today and maybe even onboard someone for the first time. So really happy I could just step away, and that team will be in good and capable hands. Secondly, I'm curious to get feedback on the viewers of what's going on in the hearts and minds of people watching, live work going on versus us doing workshops and serving someone and doing so. There's that two different things could happen, and I'm just wondering if I want to get feedback from people. Because it's so different observing and then experiencing Luke 10, observing and experiencing. So I'd like to find out more. And thirdly, relieved. I was really unwell over the weekend, just the violent virus. And so I'm relieved that I'm able to be here. And each day I'm getting stronger for my different calls and stuff like that. So, because I have a very fully booked week. So, but that's how I'm checking in.
Thank you. Thanks. Zach, you want to go next?
Sure.
I'm not giving Hillary a chance to even pass. I mean, you can pass when you're last, but you can't call on anyone else by the time I get to you.
I'm okay. So I'm
Zach, you want to go next? Sorry.
What was that? Oh, was that
was
you?
my phone.
Oh, I was like, hold on, I'm going.
I had no idea it was not muted, so sorry.
That's so funny. That's a perfect phrase too.
That's great.
So, I'm checking in. I'm feeling really happy with the operations piece, how it's set up. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm constantly thinking back to last year and comparing, and I'm like, I'm breaking this event, I'm breaking the organization because adding everything to centralizing everything on the website instead of having a third party external service. Anyway, I'm mostly happy with how it's going. I feel like we're constantly building, we're constantly growing. Our team is always maturing, and then our skill sets are always maturing. Our understanding of a lot of these processes are growing. So yeah, I feel happy with how it's going so far. I'm feeling like we're making a lot of progress every time we do these types of things. Anytime we do anything, we're learning. I'm feeling anxious as this is a fundraiser. And I'm like, how's it gonna land? I know a lot of times fundraisers and strong, in the middle is kind of like no man's, you're not really sure. Doesn't seem like anything's happening. And at the end, people show up. And so I'm feeling anxious about that. I was like, but I don't know, you have to let go of it. And then there's a couple things that I'm like, as we're in the middle of it, I'm like, oh, I forgot we could have done that. I didn't think about that, or I did think about that and I didn't activate. So anyway, it's a mix of things. But I would say my dominant check-in is happy with the process.
Beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, I'm hearing you say you're deeply grateful and thankful, and you're seeing the maturity of the team, the maturity of our skill set, the maturity of even this event from 1 year to now is night and day. And that's encouraging, makes you happy. We learn from what we're doing, and that's just a sweet place to be in. And that there's a part of you that's like, is this really going to work as a fundraiser? Is it going to work? Yeah, so I want to just validate that. I probably am feeling that too, but didn't acknowledge it because I have a really nice way of just suppressing any negative emotions that I want to. So something I have a coach with right now who's trying to help me access those things and acknowledge them. So thank you for acknowledging that. Yeah, there's this moment where you're like, okay, is this going to work in the future? How can we scaffold it better? What does it need to do in order to reach that goal? And I think there's so many other good things coming from the live event that, part of me is like, well, even if we don't make the funding, it's so worth doing because it's so incredible. But it still begs the question, this is a fundraiser. So I look forward to our debriefing this experiment and our ideas of how to make that even more effective as a fundraiser. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. Hillary.
Yeah, so Sarah Harrington checked on us this morning, Zach. Not sure if you saw that, but she was very sweet. And I checked in, I was ready. And the image, it was a little too long to put on Discord because I didn't want it to come off wrong. But as soon as I said ready, I was like, yeah, like I'm about to take a deep breath and like swim for like miles and be exhausted. But that ready in a sense of like, I don't know if you've ever tried to hold your breath for a very long time, but normally I take 3 really long, really slow breaths and then one like, and then I start holding my breath, for however long it is. But for me, this week has felt more like just a swimming race, like just consistently short on air and needing to move forward. So Zach touched on it, Tony touched on it, Jason touched on it. There's so many different aspects of what's going on currently, and just making space for my hypercritical part of me to shout and scream and be like, yeah, it is so rough right now, isn't it? Yeah. And just attune to them and like see and breathe through it and then keep moving. Cause like it doesn't do much good to stay in the hypercritical spot for too long. And then just reminding myself of the facts that are happening. And the whole reason we did this again is because of what Tony is saying, is because there's so much good coming out of our meetings and streaming live that we were like, yeah, we definitely want to do this again. Wasn't really successful last year if we're going to go on like standard success scales, but we don't do anything standard. So we measure our own success for different things. So just keeping all of that in mind and just reminding myself of the good that is coming from these meetings.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that begs the next question, which I'll start with you, of just what do we need to finish well? Because you probably know more than we do. What do we need to finish well? Is there anything we're not doing that we need to do? Is there anything that we need to, that any of us need to pick up or help in? How are you assessing the next 24 hours or plus?
So last year we did an open invitation for the celebration round, and I would love to do that again. So far we have one person who's already been like, I'll be there. And this is just silly from like a communications perspective, because that same person was like, oh, how do I join the Making Disciples conversation? I was like, oh, that one's closed. But Thursday you can possibly come. So like wanting more people to join and come in and just kind of debrief and hear from them, get that kind of live feedback. How was this for you? Like, what's there to celebrate? I think inviting people to a live event would be the best way to finish well.
How do we do that? Because we almost have to have or do we just post the Zoom link publicly?
We don't post the Zoom link publicly.
Okay, thank you.
But sending an email. Sending an email inviting people to register for it, and then also on Instagram inviting people to put their email in if they want to be invited to it. Would be a great way.
Great.
It will be streamed publicly, but
Right.
only people who have been invited get
And be on the screen.
the link.
And in that meeting or in that time together, what do you foresee us doing just so they know what they're being invited into?
I don't know. We get to decide that together right now. It's a celebration round. I'm assuming we check in, share appreciation from the week, cheers, celebrate. I'm just making this up on the fly.
Okay. Well, why don't we take a minute or two and listen around
Great.
what can that time look like, and then we'll come back and share what we're hearing.
That's great. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I'm not supposed to mute, I don't think, so I won't mute. I'll just be quiet while I listen.
You can mute, just don't take your video away.
Oh, okay. All right. So I immediately realized that we didn't do a reaction round to the idea of inviting people. And that's very much like us to do first before we actually just jump in and activate it. So I need to slow myself down. And in that also, when I quieted, I was like, I want to point out, we told in every meeting we have, whether it's a work meeting or a pastoral care meeting, this is how we merge soul care and mission. How we merge healthy attachment with mission is we never leave out heart-to-heart connection or relational circuit training ever. So we began with appreciation to get our relational circuits on. We listened on the agenda. So again, checking in and listening, or relational circuit work and listening, it's what we do. Then what did we do when we got to this? We checked in around Relational Revolution Live and we're listening. So those skills, we use them in every single aspect. Divine governance is made up of that. And this reaction round concept is huge. So when someone makes a proposal like Hillary just did, we should do a reaction round or clarifying questions. So did anyone have any clarifying questions or reactions to that idea of everyone coming? Yes, Zach.
I was actually gonna just comment on what you said. One of the, maybe this is for the people watching, I don't know, but one of the cool things that has been, one of the things that I've loved over the past few years in Luke 10 is listening and then checking in and reacting are all these different ways of engaging the heart, almost like from different facets.
Wow.
Because sometimes if I'm just thinking about listening to Jesus, I'm like, depending on your experience with that and your theological baggage and all kinds of things, that could be hard to approach, or you have it in like a box and you're like, this is what it means, and I think you can close off parts of your heart. So reacting and checking in help to draw out all of these different facets. Sometimes I'm listening to Jesus and it's like I feel like I got like a sentence, and then the reaction and checking in, there's actually a lot more from the Lord that's coming out that I blocked off. So it helps us to stay like connected and draw out everything, and then we can be like, oh, this is, I'm just feeling angry here, I'm feeling this here, and then, oh, there's some things here that we should talk about. I think this is Jesus. So anyway, I just wanted to say I love that we do all of it, because it brings out these different facets of our heart.
Thank you.
Reacting to the thing, I'm happy. I'm good to do to have an open celebration round. I think it would be fun.
Jay, clarifying questions, reactions?
I just love what Zach said very much. And I'm just in for doing it. So sounds good.
My reaction is yes, because it needs to be community. It needs to be all of us celebrating and sharing our takeaways, even if it was just they got 20 minutes of one meeting one day. Like, no big deal. What was your takeaway from that, right? So they don't even have to have been watching. They could have been in a meeting. Okay, well, you were part of it. So I think that's a great idea. Okay, so what did we sense around what to do during that time? Anybody want to go first? We
I'll
probably
go.
sense very similar things. So go ahead, Zach.
I was the main thing was to have two possible agendas or pathways ready, depending on the size of the group.
Okay.
So if it's a big group, we can keep it a little more, not surfacey, but if it's like two people, you're going to debrief pretty deep. Like, you're going to ask lots of questions, and but if it's 20 people, then we can keep it, what was your takeaway? What was important to you? Whatever. So yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. Yeah. What I hear you, I almost hear you saying our rounds are like accordions. They can expand or shrink depending on how many people we have, right? So the facilitator gathering, for example, I did the exact same rounds when we have 4 people as I did when we had 20 on Monday. Same rounds, but they look very differently. And if there's 4 of us, we linger, we ask more curious questions, we delve. And when there's 20, we keep it moving. So, but the schedule's the same, or the outline's the same. It's just how we facilitate that outline that shifts dramatically. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks. Jay?
Accordion was a great example, Tony. I don't know if you've used that before, if you just pulled that out of thin air.
No, it's in a video. We use it on our leader team rounds, how those leader team rounds, each one can expand or shrink depending on what your need of the group is for that week. So thank you. But no, I didn't come up with it on the spot. But I mean, I did live in Uruguay for 20 years, and they play accordions down there in tango. So we often saw people playing them anyway. So it is in my visual imagery that I draw from. Jason, what about you? What did you hear?
Let's see. The first thing was I had to have a conversation with myself and say, is debriefing not celebrating? And I know it's different. So I love debriefing so much. So I had to work through that thought and just push it aside. I remember Tony saying, well, we'll have to celebrate first and then debrief. So I had to differentiate that thought.
Spoken like a true trainer, though, because our whole first half of our training is celebrating and educing the strengths of the person in front of us, right? Thank you, Jay.
Thank you. It's a party. Debriefing's a party with cake every time.
Thank you for correcting our flawed thinking. I appreciate that.
However, if we want to use the accordion analogy, which I love, what if we show up and we celebrate until? So what was that favorite takeaway? What was that favorite moment that was being observed? And that'll fill probably a lot of the call, I imagine. So just doing what we do and hearing that, I thought of a fun question, like I haven't formulated it yet, but what would be your dream for Luke 10 at this time next year? And just kind of like a dream statement, word, phrase of your area. We could also do a check-in with Luke 10 in the wild around that and just really get some sparks going, what's going on, like for the first time, maybe live with a group of people. And, that was one idea. And then not listening, but afterward, I don't know why, but I don't think this is a happy hour. So if it's not, I thought of the phrase, let's celebrate with a taco. So maybe that's just for me. I'm going to show up with a taco. Because it's
I'm
fun.
definitely going to show up with something else.
Well, you can
That's
have
because I'm the black sheep bad example of.
you can have a lot of things with a taco.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true.
So those were some of my meetings.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Hillary, you want to go? You want me to go?
You can go. I don't have anything new yet. We're all feeling sensing something.
I was thinking of a quick check-in. How are we feeling? Let's land kind of 1 minute apiece, depending on how many are there. Just to after work, kind of how are we feeling? So, and modeling that. And if there is anyone new that's not even in our community. I mean, what if someone shows up who hasn't even done Church 101 yet? Then that would be a great opportunity for them to practice checking in with us. So I thought, well, that would be fun maybe to do that. So we could do a quick check-in. And then the next round I thought about, which is the same as y'all have, is, what have you appreciated from the live event? What was your participation and what's your takeaway? So what did you appreciate the most, or your favorite part, or any variety of that question, really? I thought too about allowing opportunity for question and answers. So gentle curiosity, all things. It could be anything about the book. It could be anything about how to live this in your life. But just gentle curiosity with whoever's there. So anyone have any questions, right? And someone might want to just delve into whatever, how did y'all pull this off? Or where did you get the idea for doing this to begin with? How did this even start, right? Like I want to be able to offer a chance for people to ask questions like that. And I'm sure if no one new is there, we have enough gentle curiosity with each other that we could go all day. So I can't wait. Anyway, so thought about gentle curiosity, question, answer, all things. And then just a closing round. What do we take away from our time, together as some potential rounds, which seem like they overlap. And if we run out of time, well, one of the gentle, curious questions could be, where do you hope to see Luke 10 next year? Or where do you hope to see yourself in regards to Luke 10 next year, which could be a fun question as well, Jay. I love that one. And checking in with the wild, I love that too. So I think having these could be great. Hillary.
This is just a general question. Do we want this to be an hour or 90 minutes?
It's a great question.
What time does it start?
6 p.m. Eastern.
So let me just check real quick what I'm doing before and after. That's weird. Okay, I have it starting at 4 p.m. Central, which would be 5 p.m. Eastern. Do I have the wrong schedule?
It says 5 p.m. Central on the website.
Bummer. Okay. Wow. Okay, that's okay. I can reschedule that. That's fine. I don't know why I thought it was 5 for some reason on one of the schedules at some point.
I think I wanted it earlier and you were like, that's not late enough because you're on the East Coast and it's real late there. Your guys hit the latest first. And I was like, okay.
That was when you wanted it at 3, like 3 Central, which would have been a little early for me, Central time, but 4 would have been good, but that's fine. 5's great. I'm glad that I got that cleared up because I would have been showing up for the wrong time. I would think an hour if it's that late, especially for you guys on the East Coast. Y'all have got family and kids and husbands and all kinds of things, wives.
Works for me. 60 is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another question. Is anyone allowed to come who hasn't participated in the week, like spouses? My husband hasn't been here at all, but would he be welcome to show up and be with us and hear those things and maybe react to behind the scenes how it's been for him being married to me? I don't know.
I think it would be great to include more people because stats wise, we don't have a lot of people watching daily. So if we were to cap it to the people watching,
Okay.
we might be limiting ourselves drastically there.
Yeah, only if Matt does karaoke as he checks in. And then I approve.
Very, very tempting. Very
Mm.
tempting. All right.
You can
So
start like a half hour early, the karaoke time
Ooh.
on live.
So it looks like we're at an hour. Well, we'll be in an hour then. We've got some rounds. Hillary, did you hear anything else that you want to share?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. The last question would be who wants to facilitate this, or who would we like to facilitate this?
Are you able to facilitate this, Tony?
I would be able to facilitate this.
I am learning after the grand circle yesterday at that hour. My brain is
Your brain is fried. I learned that when I have a drink in my hand, I get even happier. No, I'm kidding. Thinking of my interview with Zach. It was really funny. I had not drank hardly anything at all. I'm really kidding. And my team knows I'm kidding. Sorry. Those of you who are live, I joke like that, but I'm really just as bubbly and happy and loose without anything at all. I don't need any help. But it's fun to joke anyway. Sorry, inappropriate in some circles. Okay, yes, I can facilitate that. Anything else on what, Hillary?
Zach put up a reaction on his screen and it's pretty cute.
All right. Anything else on that then? Okay, I want to just draw our attention to what just happened, because this happens in almost every single meeting that we're in. And that is something, a new reality was created from nothing. We had nothing. We come here. Hillary has an idea. We react around it. We listen to Jesus and we activate it. It's incredible. So are there any paramount objections? We should do our consent round then. Any paramount objections to moving forward with this idea, or does it feel good enough for now and safe enough to try? Thumbs up if it's good enough for now and safe enough to try. All right, I think so.
Have you explained paramount objections for the live this week?
Not fully.
It's one of my favorite things about us, like consent, range of tolerance, and paramount objection. I'm obsessed with it, and I use it at home with my family. So
go for it, Zach. We have not. We didn't delve into it. We danced around it, and we didn't delve into it. So why don't you go into that? What is the difference between consensus and consent? And how does consent? Why do you like it?
I forget consent.
Consensus. Consensus is like the United States, right? Well, no, it's not at all. It's the opposite. So there's consensus, there's democracy or voting, and then there's what we do, consent. So consensus is every single person has to agree or we don't move forward. They have to support the idea or we don't move forward. Voting is, well, we'll just vote and whoever gets majority wins, but then half your organization's at odds with each other and unhappy. So neither one of these, this blocks us and we never move forward. This makes half of us against the other half. So consent is a different bird altogether. You want to go there, Zach? What does that mean?
Yeah. So we propose things like this. This is light. This is a light thing. It wasn't really challenging. But someone proposed it. We talk about it. We react around it to kind of like give it shape. And then and then but yeah, then we see if there's consent. And so you're kind of saying, yes, I love this, let's go. Or someone might be like, I can't move forward. This and it allows us to ask questions. Why can't you move forward? Are you is it violating our mission? Is it triggering you personally? And maybe we just need to talk through that, and then you're okay. So it allows a lot of, it kind of like leans into the relational connection of the culture. Yeah, and then if the objection is really strong, then we don't move forward, and we go back and reshape it. And then yeah, but most times you say, I can, someone could say, I don't object, I don't love it, but I'm open to doing this now, and that's called, like, it's in their range of tolerance. It's like, it's in this window. I can deal with it. I don't want to watch Star Wars Episode 2 because of Jar Jar Binks, but I'm willing to watch it. So anyway, it's, yeah. So sometimes, every once in a while, there's an objection, and we have to kind of say, okay, what's going on there? Why do you object? And I think it's fun and challenging.
Thank you. And part of the proposal shaping it, those objections are included in that. And so one of the reasons why people typically don't have a paramount objection with a proposal is because they were allowed to shape it together. So our proposal, we didn't like list it, but it's basically, we're going to open it up. We're going to meet for an hour. I'll be facilitating, and we have this general flow. That was the full proposal, right? And we shaped it together by listening to each other and by listening to Jesus. So at that point, if you've listened to each other, listened to Jesus, and shaped a proposal together, most of the time you're not going to be like, oh, we can't do that. Because, like, you would have said that earlier in the process, right? And maybe you hate the idea, maybe you really do. But like you said, if it doesn't go against our vision, our values, or a personal conviction you have, then you cannot stand in its way. The only reason you can have a paramount objection is for one of those reasons. It will sabotage the mission of our organization or this circle. So if the communication is really bad, for example, and you're a communication circle person, you might go, no, I object to that being done that way. Like, we need to make that look better, which has happened. So yeah, range of tolerance. What's your range of tolerance? And really, paramount means paramount. Otherwise, you can abstain, and the organization moves forward with the idea, or you can consent and say, not what I want, but good enough for now, safe enough to try. And these are usually experiments that we then debrief and learn from. Yep. Keeps us moving.
And anybody, we've had things where the founders are like, I don't love this idea, but I don't object to it. And it's like, often. I've never been part of something like that. Like, John White founded this with Kent in early 2000s or whenever, and we're on this call, I think it was in the past year, and he's like, at that point I was used to objections and stuff, but he's like, I don't have a paramount objection. I'm not loving the idea, but I'm okay with it. Now, this is weird, like, to be like moving forward, and the founders like not like in love with the idea. It was, but he trusted us. He trusted the organization.
And moving forward with an idea that the founder didn't have himself. That's the other shocking thing, right? Last year when we did the 67 experiment, which was this relational revolution live last year, he didn't have that idea. He never thought it up at all. And it was almost really scary for our mission circle because they couldn't see it or understand what it was. And they gave a lot of trust to go, well, I mean, it sounds good enough for now, safe enough to try.
We also gave them less than a week to like consent to it. Like, it's going to happen in like 3 days. You up for it?
So crazy. So yes, what kind of organization lets the outer edges lead, right? To the degree that we even had someone going through Church 101 a few years back who made a proposal to us, not even connected to us really, except they went through our introductory course, and we changed everything because of their feedback and their proposal. So anyone can make a proposal. And if it's good enough for now, safe enough to try, makes sense, we can move forward and change continually. Creativity, it unleashes creativity. Thank you, Zach, because we had not talked about that. All right, we are in the last 15 minutes of our call. I've got some book stuff there. It's written for you. Our current stage is to keep sales up. So we have a free book promo happening on the 16th through the 20th of June. I don't know how we want to communicate that, or if we want to. Any quick observations or comments about how to communicate that?
Where is it happening?
So on Amazon, the Kindle version of Relational Revolution will be free for 4 days. So if
Cool.
anyone wants I mean, it's only 99 cents anyway, but if anybody wants it for free,
What days is that again?
it is June 16th, which I think is a Thursday, through Tuesday, the 20th.
Great. It can go in the JFJ and the leader team email.
Thank you. Thank you. That's awesome. That'll work. And then I do have two free promotional sites on that as well. So that's really why we run the free promo, because it gets out into thousands of people's emails basically that aren't connected to us at all. We're searching for 10-2B answers, right? We're begging the Lord to put this book in the hands of 10-2B answers. So hopefully those promos will help do that. And then
I do have sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Do we have anything going on with our audiobook in sales right now?
It is for sale and it's cheap, you guys. I am amazed. I didn't know that Audible bases the price on how long the book is, and this book is short. So I think it's like $6.50 or something like that for the audio. You can get the audio cheaper than you can.
It's $6.08 right now. I was like, wait a minute, isn't it supposed to be like $14? And it's $6.
So what we
buy
need,
it.
we need people to leave reviews in Audible. So if all of you out there who have bought the book already, grab the audio copy and leave a review. And if you want it for free, just become a Luke 10 donor, and then you can get that for free. We might have some more freebie audiobook freebie giveaways later on this year as well, but that's definitely an option if you want the audio for free. Great. The next thing I'm on, just so you guys comms team knows, I'll be setting up the Amazon affiliate status in the next week or two, and then Amazon ads are what's next. So we'll see how all that goes to keep our sales up. But reviews are really, really huge. So if you know anyone who's read the book and you don't see them on our review thing, seek them out, find them and say, hey, have you left a review yet? Because you read the book. Why don't you leave a review? Encourage them to do that. Okay. Deep breath. How was this meeting for you? What are your takeaways from our call? We've got a good 13 minutes, 12 minutes to kind of debrief the call. As y'all remember from November, I have been asking, how do I protect Luke 10 from myself as a 3 on the Enneagram? And one of my biggest weaknesses, besides not feeling my emotions, is rushing people too fast, going too fast, pushing something too much, and getting non-relational after a goal, right? So as I've been facilitating more teams and part of more teams circles, I've been asking you all for feedback on, did it feel like I was pushing too hard, running too fast, or leaving anyone behind, or getting non-relational at any moment? So that's the feedback that's helpful for me on how you're perceiving me. And then just your general takeaway from our time together today. And we'll give 30 seconds to just think about that for a minute, roughly 30. I don't time it. I don't know how long it is.
Were you inviting us to comment on the thing that you're just talking about?
Which thing?
You and your.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I'm inviting you to listen for 30. I'm inviting you to listen for 30 seconds first. And then give me a reaction round or feedback.
Cool.
Thank you. All right. I'll give my because in our training we always let the person who's about to be debriefed or get constructive criticism, we always let them go first. Yeah, I feel like I really loved how many times we listened and paused during our meeting today. I don't know if we do that so often, that many times, and that was helpful for me in even remembering some things to structure or things to reflect on that we're doing that are really amazing work. So that was helpful, and I enjoyed that. I do really enjoy hearing how you guys are doing and staying focused on you helps me instead of focused on our goals. I think I ran you over, Zach, at one point. I get so impatient that sometimes I interrupt people and start talking over them. So I think I did that. So I'm sorry. Woo, it's so hard. And I think that's me. I'm in. So I feel satisfied and still growing. I'm in. Who
I
wants
can
to
go.
go first? Okay.
You want to run me over? Watch this. Just kidding. I actually didn't notice you do that. So, but okay. Yeah, I just wrote down one thing. I said, you have been working to nurture a culture of safety over time, that protects us in the little moments of excess. So, well, and when I say excess, I mean the things that you're commenting on. You're doing this personal work, and watching for those times when you're you said running, you run ahead or you run over somebody or whatever. So you're constantly investing in a culture that's safe and strengthens all of us to have safety and dignity and agency. So when we have these moments, we can go, wait, what are you doing? This is this is not how we do things. It's so yeah, so you're investing in the culture so much that if we end up having a bad moment, it doesn't break everything, because we're like, oh, this is just a bad moment. Like the culture reminds me, like some of the book conversations we had, and I was like, this feels like not us. What's happening? And so we sit and say, okay, this is what's happening. So anyway, yeah. So I just want to say I appreciate you, because one, you're doing this work to protect the organization from your, whatever I call it, the excess of our personalities and our weaknesses and things. And then, but you've invested so much in this safe culture that gives us so much power, dignity, freedom, whatever, like these words. So yeah. Anyway, I just want to say I appreciate you for that. So I welcome the moments of weakness, because I feel very safe in the culture.
Thanks. Thank you. That's huge.
But today I didn't see anything today. I thought it was great. Good time. I was very at ease in our call.
Thank you. Thanks, Zach. It means a lot.
Yep.
Yeah. Jay.
For me, I did enjoy your facilitation to give you that feedback. And what was powerful for me was your invitation with soul care and mission, just check in on us. And whether we needed to receive care or this, that, whatever it might be. And again, that is so poignant and not the norm. So thank you for that. Secondly, just few takeaways. Zach's heart comment, it was a tangential comment about how other things can be brought up in our heart, and that is still swirling within me, and I really enjoyed that. Tony, you debriefed along the way so many times, many debriefs, and I really enjoyed you naming things. This is what just happened. This is what just happened, and then explicating it to the group, whether it's divine governance or process. And for me, that is helpful over and over again. That inculcation, that training. You can't help not train. That's what you do. And then lastly, I was so glad to hear that Hillary is swimming in this river of integration. And as I pray for you all, I know I don't know all that you do, but as I pray for you all, it was really good for me to hear that as I carry you in my heart, that nobody's drowning or anything like that. And she's just, so that blessed my heart to hear that. So, amen.
Oh man. A question I would have, and maybe we can expound later, Hillary, at some other moment, but what would it look like if you started to drown? How would we know what would be the flag or the symbol there? So that might be helpful as your teammates.
I mean, I'd probably start coughing and choking and like drowning. It's probably what it would look like. Just let them. I don't know if it would look like drinking.
If we get any, images on Discord of someone drowning, then we will know what that means.
So far, the only water image I've used is dipping my toe in the water with Zach for something else. Anyway, yeah, thank you. I'll think on that. I'm not drowning yet. We're good.
Right.
Great. Yeah, I like everything that they said. I liked your continual process, and even coming back after we listened and going, oh, I realized I was like asking for the agenda before we even had a reaction round. Oh my goodness. Like it felt weird. It felt rushed because I was like, I mean, I can come up with this, but we normally do this together. So that was just great recognition of like, oh yeah, this is what we do. And you said this in the beginning as well, that you already started debriefing it. And the message this morning was really hard for me. It bumped me out. Like I had to like ignore it and like.
She's talking about a message on Discord where I was already throwing out ideas for future. So for those of you who aren't there, it was before this call and I was already thinking ahead, and I probably realized, oh,
that really hurt.
We don't do that yet. We don't do that yet.
No. And you said that on the call.
So sorry, babe.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else closing from this meeting?
No, I don't think so. I love it.
All right. Well, if you are out there listening, or maybe you're watching a recording of this, we just invite you to listen around what does God want you to know about this relational revolution, and where are you in it? Are you in it? And do you need training? Most of the people, I loved one of our, I think Jay might have mentioned, or Zach, our trainer, those who are in training with us, our facilitators, they're seasoned ministers and pastors. We're not training new people straight out of seminary or college. We're training 60 years and up, really. A lot of our people, obviously Hillary's a trainer, so we've got some 30-year-olds in there. But the majority of people coming to us are in their 50s and 60s, and they realize that they lack relational skills in their leadership of their churches, in leadership of their small groups, in their ministries, in their coaching businesses, in their business, whatever it is that you are leading. You might need to have some more skill in how you do that well. And we train you in how to do that. So I just want to give that to you and say, listen, do you feel like you're kind of not as sharp as you want to be? You're lacking some of these skills. You're lacking a community to train with. You don't have people that will give you feedback in a safe environment to help you grow and push through the ceiling that you have been in your whole life. And Jesus wants us to push through those ceilings and become everything he created us to be. And I couldn't do that without this community of practice. I couldn't do that without Luke 10. So just want to say, listen, and answer the call, because he is calling, he is inviting. And if you'd like to give, please, lukelk10.com/live right now, or /give if you just go to our website. You're welcome to join us to fund this movement of God that's happening globally. Anything else?
I think that's it. Just what's next?
That's it.
What's next, I think, is my leader team coming up in just a minute here, and 30 minutes actually. And today we are, as a leader team, we are decided to do Dr. Lehman's training, Emmanuel Approach training for our leader lessons for the next few months. We'll still be engaging with Luke 10's leader lessons, but our reaction rounds are going to be around the Emmanuel Approach training, and we're going to practice together listening to Jesus in our appreciation stories and facilitating that listening. I think that's the new piece, is several people on our team have never actually facilitated that with someone else, helped someone else find Jesus in a memory and connect to the active living presence of God today. So we are going to be modeling that a little bit in our leader team today, how we can do that, how you can actually help someone and yourself even connect to the living presence of God. Incredible stuff. So if you haven't heard those podcasts, Dr. Lehman, there's 5 on Joy-Filled and Jesus Led on my podcast, 5 sessions with Dr. Lehman. And this is his training that we're going to be debriefing and practicing today.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Is that a high five, Zach, or a question?
I was going to read something that Margie commented on the stream.
Oh, yay. Please
He said,
do.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing this process and this little talked about aspect of leadership. I hope that more churches, businesses, and even families would be brave and step up and learn how to function this way. Really appreciate you all being valuable for us, with all of us.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I don't see that. Where? I don't see it. Is it in Discord?
It's on the Facebook.
Oh, Facebook.
Streamed over on Facebook.
Oh, thank you, Susan. Thank you so much. It means a lot. All right. So just a logistics question, Hillary. Do you want me to just end the stream and keep my Zoom going? Do I end it all and restart it in 30 minutes? What would you like me to do?
You can end it and end your Zoom and end all of that if that's easiest for you, and just do it again. What we want to avoid is keeping the stream going until your next meeting, because then it's impossible to edit easily. Which, by the way, I need to send a video to get it chopped and edited.
Okay, I think I can do that. I've already downloaded those videos, so I could do that for you now.
From Restream?
Yeah.
Nice.
So the custom live streaming service, I can just end that, and that would actually be okay, and then restart it. That way I don't have to plug in all those codes. Okay.
Yep. Just make sure you invite the right people to
my next call.
your call.
I sure will. Love y'all. Thank you so much for all that you do in all of your circles, and we'll see you. Next meeting, I put it on the agenda, but we're off for 3 weeks, you guys. The 14th is our next meeting, and Hillary's on vacation. So we won't see Hillary till the 28th of June. And maybe that's when we should debrief, because I think we'll all be back together on that day, unless Jay's on vacation that week.
I am. Well, never mind. Okay, yeah.
All right. See you guys.